The global monetary order is being shifted in front of our eyes, in plain sight. The war, what's going on right now, Jason Lowery's thesis software is playing out, the Trump crypto strategy, cyber strategy, all of it eerily similar. Jason Lowery sending cryptic tweets. Then we have our buddies, our good old pals in the banking system, the ones that are being obsoleted right now as we speak. Jamie Dimon can't tell which way he's going. He doesn't know if he's going up, if he's going down. One day he's starting to see parallels to the end of to the start of the 2008 financial crisis. And then he just went on in the last 24 hours and said that crypto is better than the current financial system. The experiment phase is over. And this is a guy, mind you, that said Bitcoin is a scam. If any of his employees for years, for 10 years, saying, we'll fire anyone who deals with crypto, who does anything while they're making crypto trading desk on the side. This is an absolutely fascinating time from so many different angles, from the kinetic war being played and the games, the shift happening right now from what I think is the British crown and their control for hundreds of years in the banking system being ripped away from them. We just had Caitlin Long on the podcast a few weeks ago, a month ago. She talked about this very thing, LIBOR going away, the London interbank exchange rate, and so forth, the new system. And you have the war in Iran, what's going on there, Lloyds of London being embarrassed, and Russia and China being talked to by President Trump. And it doesn't matter whether any of us are for Trump, against him, doesn't matter. Just what it is. This is what's happening. They're looking like allies in the background. We got the banking cartel vehemently upset. We have the head of the American Banking Association losing his mind because here we are disrupting the system. Just like we'll get to Brian Armstrong in a second. We're gonna get to Brian here in a second. Don't you worry. With him getting in bed with I'm sorry, I got a side tangent here for a second. I love that you have Brian Armstrong over here, Marty Bent, TFTC, calling them out for grifting and trying to block de minimis tax exemption on Bitcoin transactions. And he's like, no, I didn't. I'm not, I swear. Cutscene. A day later, he's over here, shoulder to shoulder with Larry Fink, who leads the World Economic Forum now, if you are unaware, and they're pumping Ethereum. I mean, this is just Wall Street greed at its finest. Brian Armstrong could have millions of Bitcoin at this point, probably 1 million to 2 million Bitcoin. For context, Michael Saylor has 700,000, 730,000, 740,000 Bitcoin, and it's taken him 5-6 years to do that. Brian Armstrong was really the first big player with good UX in the game for people to buy Bitcoin, to get Bitcoin. They could have been stacking Bitcoin this entire time. And if you had, let me do the math really quick, right? If you had, I think they only have 10,000, 9,000 or 10,000 Bitcoin right now. But if he had 1 million, just say he had 2 million Bitcoin right now, if you had been stacking the whole time and not screwing around in the crypto altcoin casino trying to scam people, because this is the thing, at the end of the day, when I got into Bitcoin 2017, 2018, I got into altcoins too. I got into the first year or two, I bought because I was an investor. I came from the real estate world and I was like, you know what, I'm in a position size and I knew the game from an investing point of view, from fundamentals, technicals, cash flow, and risk mitigation, the 4 big pillars of investing. I saw it as, hey, I'm going to get more Bitcoin. Fortunately, I was down the rabbit hole, just an iota in the sense of sound money. I heard it was thought of as sound money. So I got more Bitcoin, fortunately, by the grace of God, than I did these other altcoins, these ship coins. But I position sized, and because they had whatever it was, 10, 15 or available, whatever it was at the time, because they were available, it gave me the opportunity of, oh, you know what? I don't know what I don't know. So I'm going to get a bunch of these other altcoins. And it took me a year or two to realize, as I studied and really got to see, oh my gosh, this is a complete disaster. All these scam coins, affinity coins, trying to be the next Bitcoin, trying to scam off of Bitcoin. So instead of just towing the rope and towing the line of Bitcoin and sound money and laws of nature, laws of thermodynamics, laws of physics, nope, Brian went off. And there's a famous quote, just talked to, I think it was Walker in BTC sessions about this the other day in the Bitcast, and Joey and Nathan, and the cryptic tweet about, not the cryptic tweet, but the tweet of Brian Armstrong talking about Stellar and XRP. It's a waste of time. Don't get distracted. Bitcoin's the game, from 10 years ago. And how far we have fallen. So if he had 2 million Bitcoin and just say, prices will say 70,000 right now, that's $140 billion worth of Bitcoin he could have. 140 billion. And he would have the most Bitcoin in the world. He have more than Satoshi, the accumulated wallets, even more than anybody. But instead, They have what, 10,000? Someone in the chat can put how many they have. I don't know what the actual number is. And he's over here trying to scam, trying to get more fiat. Got sucked in the fiat system, got sucked into the power game, got going to Davos, flying in the jets, being unruly with the boys in Davos. This is what keeps us in the system. And this is why people think capitalism is broken, because we have a system that perpetually sucks politicians in, maybe thinking they have a good incentive or they have a good conscience. They're going to come in and do something good. Brian Armstrong got into this and he's like, hey, I'm in the Bitcoin mission. And then all of a sudden the lifestyle creep happens. And you have guys and gals, the Larry Finks of the world, these different people that they can bribe you, they can persuade you. The endless cantillionaires, endless currency printing, which is theft from you and I. It's your theft of your time and energy. Inflation is only one thing. And I see Bitcoiners making this mistake. I see politicians. I see everyone saying inflation comes from some type of constraint in the logistics, supply, Putin price hikes, some type of break. That's just symptoms of inflation. That's just price hikes. That's just price going up. That's just normal part of their business cycle, normal part of the process. Inflation is one thing and one thing only. It is printing of currency by the government in the fractional reserve banking system. Those two things, call it what it is, or if you want to break it down and get nuanced about it, but it emanates from the top. It's only an expansion of the currency supply. End of story. Inflation, if you want to call prices going up here and there something else and come up with another name of it, great. Don't call it inflation. Stop calling it inflation. This war on language, whether it's democracy or social security, all these things, this is what's getting us in trouble in the first place. Using money instead of using a currency. We don't have money. We have a currency, the US dollar. So all these things are what get people into trouble. And so Brian has gone down this road. You don't think Larry is going to comply with the government? Larry is the government, for crying out loud. You don't think Jamie Dimon, when they have your stable coin, they have your ETH, they're going to lock it up? ETH already went through this. XRP already went through this. XRP had the lawsuit years ago and your stuff was locked up. If you kept it on Coinbase, it's locked up. And you know what? Props to Brian Armstrong. He was the one saying, hey, if you have your stuff on my exchange, I'm going to lock it up. If the government comes to me and says, lock it up. He admitted it. So, I'll give him kudos for that. We'll call balls and strikes here. So he could have just had a couple million Bitcoin. He could have just stayed true. And because this system drags you in the fiat, this is what Bitcoin is trying to do. It's trying to separate money from state, rip the money printers away from the cantillionaires, away from the people at the top. So that way, when someone does something stupid, when a automaker goes belly up, or someone makes a dumb mistake or a dumb investment, you get punished for that. Because that's how we learn in society. That's how we grow. That's how we get better. The forest fire comes through, takes out all the old foliage, and new life can spring up. But when we don't have that, when we're constantly rewarding the people that are failing in life, what kind of signal does that send to the market? Not a good signal. Not sending a pretty picture to the market. Now it's training everyone that, you know what? There's two tiers of justice. You know what I can do if I just get in bed, if I slink my way to the government, if I get into bed with guys like this, I can get to the top. And that's exactly what we're trying to get rid of in Bitcoin. And we will get rid of. Believe me, we will get rid of it. Truth always wins. We're going to fight a good versus evil. Period. And this is becoming a little bit more clear every single day. It's a mindset. It's in here. It's in your heart. Evil creeping in to every single human. It's possible. We're all cracked vessels. Evil is looking for the cracked vessels that it can use, that will toe its line, and that will fall from grace. Hey, I give you the world. Remember, when Jesus was in the desert for 40 days, weak, when did the devil come to him? When he was the weakest. And you tried to tempt him. Temptation. I'll give you the world. Throw yourself down from here, and your angels will come and save you. I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world. Make no mistake, we're in that fight right now. Absolutely no mistake about it. After 25 years of studying politics, history, money, monetary finance, personal finance, everything, it is blatantly clear. That is the only thing. So you can come get all the macros talk. You can come get all kinds of the nuance of the financial plumbing system, other channels. Go watch George Gamer for that. Go watch some of my friends in other channels. If you want just simple truth, then come here. Pretty easy, pretty simple. Ethics before economics, as Neil Flusher, the author of Modern Chains, would say. Also, very simple. None of the macro, none of it makes any sense. None of it matters if you don't have ethics. Ethics clear up 99% of what's going on. Hence why Bitcoin cleans all this stuff up. That cleans up what we're seeing with Coinbase. Not going to be popular. That's why there's only a handful watching right now. People want to hear what's easy. They want to hear, how can I get rich quick? They want to hear that stuff. Do the work now or you'll get worked later. Do the work now or you'll get worked later. Life is very simple. Humans make it difficult. Our emotions make it difficult. When intelligence goes down, it's usually because emotions are going up. So Brian Armstrong getting caught up in the game. Here he is. This is just an absolutely wild time. F off. Great. That's probably it. Dick Whitman. F off. That's about all you need to know. That's about it. So we have Jeff Snyder, again, BlackRock gating funds, Morgan Stanley gating funds. Morgan Stanley's $8 billion North Haven just got hit with massive redemption requests. Their response, deny most of them. Sound familiar? It should, because Cliffwater did the same thing yesterday. BlackRock and Blue Owl before that. Blackstone before them. Blackstone did this. I don't know if they did this recently, but they did it a few years ago too. We covered this 4 or 5 years ago on this YouTube channel. One after another, shadow banks are slamming the gate shut on investors trying to get their money out. So you have the everyday person getting frozen out of their bank accounts, Canadian truckers, Dutch farmers. If you don't comply, at what point in society do we just become the serfs? And there's so many broken minds in this country and in the West, unfortunately, that literally just given in. They're like, F it. You know what? You're right. I am. We are. People are too stupid. People are too dumb. You are here. You and I are here right now because someone made a good choice a long time ago. And then someone else made a good choice a long time ago. And then someone else made a good choice. You are here. You have the chance right now to make good choices today in order to affect life going forward. What kind of choices are we going to make now that affect life going forward? That's the power that we hold. We don't understand that. People think that one person can't make a difference. We can. Ask the guy who ate a bat in Wuhan. Wink, wink. Ask the guy who fired the shot heard around the world at Lexington and Concord. One person absolutely can make a difference, and one person will make a difference. BlackRock and Blue Owl before that, Blackstone before them. One after another, shadow banks are slamming the gate shut on investors trying to get their money out. So the little guys, it's happening to them. And theft, you're being gated because you go ask your bank, can I get my money out? They're like, what for? What for? Try to cross with gold bars. Try to cross with $10,000 at the border. See what happens. See what happens. And you tell me you're not gated. And here it's happening to the bigger guys. It's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening until the whole system collapses, or it just keeps happening. We keep talking about this long enough where you just lose another 99% of your purchasing power over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, which is what I believe it will be. In the next 10 to 20 years, you will lose 99% of your purchasing power from here. The dollar's already lost 99% from 1912 to 1913. You'll lose another 99% over the next 2 decades. Guaranteed. I absolutely can guarantee it. We're at the hockey stick part of the curve, ladies and gentlemen. So you'll either sit here and keep watching all the macro stuff and trying to, hey, when is this going to happen? Sitting here trying to figure out when you're going to trade in and out of altcoins, sitting here trying to figure out when you're going to trade in and out of your real estate, my gold and silver, my uranium, all your futures on this. You'll be sitting here shuffling deck chairs in the Titanic, all while just being debased the entire time. Just completely dummied. And then it'll be too late. The Titanic breaks in half and then you're going in the water and there's nothing you can do. JP Morgan just got revalued, collateral. That's the kind of move that tightens the flow of money through the entire system. It restricts who JPM will lend to and how much money can borrow. And as others follow Jamie Dimon's lead, the squeeze only gets worse. Now layer in oil, ripping toward $100 a barrel despite governments dumping strategic reserve. The U.S. alone is releasing 172 million barrels over 4 months. It's not working. Prices keep climbing. This is where the 2008 parallels get uncomfortable. This is what Jamie Dimon just mentioned recently. I'm getting 2008 vibes. Back then, we had the same ingredients: a credit bubble reversing, fund managers swearing their fundamentals were solid, officials claiming everything was contained, and an oil shock that had central bankers chasing inflation that was never going to materialize, while completely ignoring the deflationary credit crisis unfolding right under their noses. And on top of that, now you've got AI. You've got AI, you've got more deflation on top of all of what he's talking about right now. The ECB literally raised rates in July of 2008 after Bear Stearns on nothing more than oil prices. As former Goldman CEO Lloyd Blankenfein put it this week, it sort of smells like that kind of moment again. I don't feel the storm, but the horses are starting to whinny in the corral. Jamie Dimon himself said, we did see this in 05, 06, 07. Almost the same thing. Everyone was making money. People were leveraging to the hilt. Now, does this mean we're guaranteed a repeat of '08? No, the scale isn't the same. Not yet, but the direction is the same. And the range of outcomes is narrowing toward territory nobody wants to visit. I mean, the house is built on confidence. So at the end of the day, really none of this matters. Ethics before economics. We could sit here and God love Jeff. He's a smart man, but learning and understanding the shadow banking system and pouring, 12 hours a day and learning the back end of it. No one cares. 99% of society doesn't care. That doesn't help the guy working McDonald's. That doesn't help the guy watching this right now. That's an electrician, a plumber, an optometrist, a photographer. It doesn't help those people. Learning the shadow banking system, no one's going to learn that. No one cares. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be an expert in these things. That's what Bitcoin solves. Bitcoin allows you to be who you are, your passion, your calling. Go do that thing. Spend more time with family. It allows you to save in money that can't be debased, that can't be stolen from you, that can't be inflated away. That's what Bitcoin changes. It renders much of Wall Street moot. It renders MBAs, all these different aspects, the private equity, the credit funds, all these things that are going down, that are collapsing society. It renders these things moot. The financial managers. What are you going to do? You can't beat Bitcoin long term. You can't beat a system. How can you taper the Ponzi? You can't taper a Ponzi. So trying to understand the system that's broken and really evil, frankly, like we talked about earlier, what's the point of it at the end of the day? Literally, what is the point? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And then we have Boris Johnson coming out, and now Boris Johnson is a cryptocurrency genius, apparently. I've long suspected Bitcoin is a giant Ponzi scheme, and now I'm hearing tales of woe that make me fear I'm right. Again, how many times does the quiet part need to be said out loud, or how many times does the truth need to be said out loud just in general? I mean, it's right there in plain sight. It is right there. Morgan Stanley, don't let the fights in Bitcoin, don't let those things distract you from what's actually going on in reality. So be careful. I mean, the amazing what's going on in Bitcoin, people building water heater miners, the tools that are right now available, the quantum risk. Again, I saw a post from Nick Carter about Boris Johnson. Nick Carter's out to lunch. He runs a venture fund, guys. Follow the money. Nick's done some great work over the years. Again, two things can be true, but he also has a venture fund that he's pushing about quantum this and quantum risk. Not to say that quantum shouldn't be talked about and think about it, but there's many simple things you can do to get around quantum. So all the little things, the FUD is there because they're the Boris Johnsons of the world, the existing system, the follow the money. There's incentives for people to FUD this system, the Brian Armstrongs, because they think they're making out short term. They think they are. But they're keeping themselves. What's wild to me is that someone like all these gentlemen I just asked, they still have families. They still have people. It's short-term thinking, though, that gets people caught. Because they still have families that live in this system. They still have to operate in this world, a fiat world. This is why all the time I talk about defunding governments. Bitcoin defunds governments. And it also helps the people in governments because governments are a group of people. And those people have families. Their families go to school. They're spread out around the country, around the world, going to schools, going to cafes, going to places where bad people, evil people want to do bad things to those people. And we see it every day. We've seen it just this last week or two. Handful of different shootings going on. That's a society that is ill. That's a society that is ill because of fiat broken currencies that exacerbate that. Not to say that these things Cain killed Abel. It's not to say that these things would never happen in life. But they happen much more than they ever should because we have fiat currencies that suck and steal your time and energy and give it to the people at the top and suppress everyone below them. And then people don't understand what's actually happening to them and they get mad at the people around them. And then you see unrest increase. And those people in government, those people at the top, the quintillionaires, they and their families have to live in that world still. Not always. Are they in their palaces at times or gated communities? Yeah. But they still have to. Their friends, their family still have to be operating in that world where unrest increases. That's the irony in all of it. So the tools are there. The water heaters, the heating systems of mining, how it's cleaning up the environment, how it's using more renewable energy. I just saw something from Dan Debatten, using more renewable energy than anything right now. Bitcoin mining. The quantum FUD, all these easily fixable, don't reuse addresses, among many other fixes. You're scared of taxes, de minimis exemptions, what Brian Armstrong's doing? Well, guess what? There are ways that you can operate silently. And many people I know that are. That's the sovereign individual, outlasting the government. Being a person of high agency. The system to build in the system right now and to use the tools that are available to you and what is actually happening. It's there if we want it. Treasury market volatility exploding. The 40-year trend completely broken. Completely broken. It's been pretty incredible. Absolutely incredible. These are very simple things at the end of the day. Whether there's a new high in Bitcoin or there's not a new high, it doesn't matter. Provide more than you spend. Provide more than you spend for society. Save in Bitcoin. Save the rest. And long term, I got to find the DCA. I don't know where the DCA thing went, but if you would have been DCAing in Bitcoin every week, what have you, for the last 4 or 5 years, you'd be 20, 30% ahead. So saying that Bitcoin's not a store of value or whatever it is, and it looks like, oh, it went up and then it came back down, it crashed a bunch, is really wild. Fiat currencies are volatile. This is like I was talking to Terrence Michael, who wrote Proof of Money. We just interviewed him. And he's like, Bitcoin is just a measuring stick, just a scale. If you stepped on a scale and you gained weight, would you say, oh, this scale is crazy? What the heck's going on? I mean, some people do, I guess. Or when your kid was getting measured against a wall, would you say, oh man, what the heck? Like, this ruler's broken. It keeps changing. No, you'd say the kid is growing. Hey, I'm gaining weight. I'm losing weight. That's what's volatile. We're volatile, not Bitcoin. The fiat currencies, the fiat currency that is being debased every single day is the thing that's volatile. The confidence in it going up and down. That's what's volatile, not Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't change. The 20 millionth coin was just mined. But you don't have to even do that. You can just extrapolate it from 21 million. You can go all the way out to 21 million, divide everything in your life by 21 million. Makes life very simple, very easy. And you can begin to see very quickly what's undervalued and overvalued in your life. And we have Larry Lepard. Great Larry, great Mr. General Larry Lepard. Resting assured that QE is coming, because Besant just told us it is not coming. I mean, it's the clown world. Who actually thinks that going into the midterms, that the Trump administration isn't going to juice the skids, try to do this? Are they not going to juice the skids before a midterm? Does he want to be a lame duck moving forward? No, of course not. Absolutely want to juice the skids. So, with the World Bank guy crying about uneven playing field, I mean, get out of here, bud. $25 trillion banker acting like, we can't let that happen. We can't let the Clarity Act and all this stuff, which again, Bitcoin doesn't matter about the Clarity Act. The Clarity Act doesn't matter for Bitcoin, really, at the end of the day. De minimis exemptions, doesn't matter. Spend and replace Bitcoin. Replace and spend Bitcoin. There are many tools. There are plenty of tools. All the tools you need right now to operate completely on a Bitcoin standard, if you want. To putting energy in the system. The more we put energy in the fiat system, the more we prop up the fiat system. Really as simple as that. So as people continue learning this and understanding this and jumping off the Titanic has a lot less energy. It is it's so cut and dry, so simple. The banks having massive problems. I mean, look at the bail-ins. Cyprus, like these things are going to happen. Lebanon, they happen. These things happen. There will be one person that watches this video. This is news to a lot of them. Government coming in, taking your money. How about the FDIC a few years ago? 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I think it was now. Literally laughing, like 40, 50 of them round the round table. Like, I mean, you can't make this up. It's like if you guys ever saw, what was it, Spectre, James Bond movie? Which again, those are the movies, the intelligence agencies telling you what's happening. But they're sitting around the whole table, 50 people around the mahogany table, the big, all the evil guys, whatever. And that's what they're doing here in FDIC, and they're totally underfunded. I think they have, 1/100th of the assets they're supposed to be covering. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. And they're sitting there saying, hey, we don't have confidence in the banking system, not like the public does. Like, and the guy's like, well, I don't think we should let them know that, because then it would cause a lot of panic that I just don't think is needed right now. The people that need to know, they have lawyers, they have people that, they can find that out. They can check on that. I mean, these are the people that are leading you. These are the people that are leading you. At what point is enough enough? At what point? What's the red line for you? Maybe that's a video we'll have to do soon. Actually, I might have to do a live stream soon with grab a couple people and talk about the red line. What's the red line for you? I think everyone's got to put their red line in the sand. What are your red lines? I think we talked about this in the Big Cast the other day. That's where it was with that crew on the BTC Sessions channel. What's your red line? No one wants to draw a red line in the sand, because then it would mean getting up off the couch and having to do something. What is the red line? Do we have red lines? Does anyone have a red line? Or, just keep doing. Keep knocking on the door, taking one by one, taking us away. Oh, Roman Storm, you're gone. Oh, Ross Albrecht, you're gone. Sterlingov, you're gone. I mean, this is, Bill and Kiane, Samurai, you're gone. Again, that's the signal of noise. The people that are being taken down are the people we should be looking at. That's the real signal in all the noise. The true signal. The real signal. I mean, how many times do we need to see these things before we get it? Just because it hasn't happened today or right this second again doesn't mean it's not happening, or it won't happen again. The dollar has lost 99% of its purchasing power. This is why the IRS exists and came into power with the Federal Reserve, because you have to be beat over the head and at the end of the barrel and being told, you better pay your taxes in this or else we're coming after you. What if 1% just stood up and said, no, we're good? I mean, I'm not going to lie, guys. Is it ironic to anyone that you had the fraud in Minnesota, what was going on, which is going on all over the place? Is it any coincidence that all of a sudden that's just completely, I mean, that might as well have been 10 years ago, where people are talking tax revolts. I mean, people everywhere were up in arms about the amount of fraud going on. When's the last time you saw any of that talked about? And it probably was 1% of the population mad. 2%, 1%, 0.5%. Well, guess what? That's probably enough. They don't want you to know that. But it's coming. That's inevitable. It's inevitable. Because dumb things are going to continue happening. Dumber and dumber things will continue happening. And you have to be staying right there, grounded in truth, first principles, thermodynamics, and watch everyone go off the cliff right by you. It's happening. It's been happening, and it's going to continue happening. I was thinking about, again, Trump and these guys and his sons attacking the banking industry and saying, we're going to remake the industry. We're going to remake the whole industry and what's going on. I do believe there's an element of the entire system shifting. I believe the huge middle fingers to the British crown and what's happening here. That's why Boris is so ticked at what's happening here, these guys, because the banking system is going down. The legacy system is going down. That's what I was talking about before I went on this tangent. The American Bankers Association guy coming up and saying, yeah, we're fighting this. We have to fight this. There's nothing you can do. It's an open voluntary protocol. And there's too many of us talking about it now. It's too late. There is the escape hatch, as Christine Lagarde said. I mean, Tom Luongo's been talking about this. Caitlin Long's been talking about this. The LIBOR, I think I mentioned this earlier, the LIBOR and the SOFR rates moving to this new world and sticking it to the globalist movement. And that's seemingly, and again, this is the IRS here. That's why I was saying earlier, the IRS, and again, I went on another tangent, but the IRS here was created to make sure that people were here in line. KYC, AML, the banking acts here, FinCEN, all that to keep people in line here. And then globally going out, doing it globally as well, beating people over the head with the aircraft carriers, taking out leaders who are going around the dollar, who's selling oil or whatever it might be outside the dollar. That's the world reserve currency trying to keep everyone in the network. Because what happens when people leave the network? As a Bitcoiner, again, we know these. We know these things very well. When people leave the network, the value of that network goes down. That's what the world reserve currency, that power, the superpower, doesn't want to happen. But that's what's happening. Newsflash, the last 10, 15 years, China and Russia, yeah, we're out. We're not buying treasuries. We're not propping up this system. This has been happening slowly but surely over the last 15 or 20 years. That's why stablecoins have become a thing, because they're buying treasuries to try to prop up the government. People, we're at the end of the line. And the younger generation is not putting up with it. We ain't going back. As we've been saying here, some of the slogans, the taglines here, we ain't going back. Do the work or get worked. Do the work now or you will get run over. Trump is talking to Russia. He's talking to China about these things. Are there proxy wars going on? Yes. Are there also backroom deals going on and talks of Russia and China and Trump saying, hey, this is going to be good for us. Hey, we're making sure the lanes are open. We're making sure you're not getting hurt either. Yeah. None of these people like the British crown. Interesting. Those three, Trump, US, Trump, and Russia and China, they don't like them. The opium trade, what the British crown did to China hundreds of years ago. I mean, over the last few hundred years, I should say, this is the game that's being played out. And there are a bunch of people using each other. Yeah. Does Israel want this to go on? Yeah. Does Trump want these other things to happen? Yes. Does Russia and China want certain things? Yeah. Like everyone's getting the thing. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. There's a lot of people getting the thing that they want seemingly, and everyone trying to find the, cognitive dissonance, and they're trying to, we're all doing it. And you watch 1,000, I've mentioned this before, you watch 1,000 different people from Colonel, Judge Napolitano and everyone he has on a show, to the Glenn Greenwalds, to the Young Turks, to the Glenn Beck, and to you name it, left, right, up, down, gold guys, Bitcoiners. Everyone's got a different philosophy, a different mind reading. That's, I'm in Trump's head. I know what he's thinking. This is what he's doing. At the end of the day, follow the money. Follow the money. Read software. The international order, these fake orders, even the Constitution. We talk about the Constitution here all the time, right? This is only as good as the paper it's printed on. This right here is only as good as the paper it's printed on. If you don't follow the law, if the money flows aren't there and the systems become too corrupt, then it doesn't matter. Oh, he didn't, there's no declaration of war. Since when has the Constitution existed? Since when have we been following this? Exactly. Can someone tell me when we've been following this? That doesn't exist. The old system is gone. Doesn't mean we can't take this into the future. We can. The Bill of Rights, we can take that. We can take the Bitcoin white paper into the future. But that system doesn't exist anymore. That old system is gone. Trump proved that. International order, it's fake. The Constitution, it's fake. It's abstract power versus real power. And this is why the software book is so incredible. What we were saying in the beginning. This is the time we are living in right now. Jason Lowery sending out cryptic tweets every so often. The cyber strategy Trump plan just came out, and it's eerily similar to Jason Lowery's. And then, oh, by the way, he retweeted it and said, oh, what a coincidence. Jason Lowery did. I mean, I do believe in a couple decades, people are going to look back and be like, wow, how do we not see this? Like, this is really wild. I mean, the guy's in the Space Force. He went to MIT. Like, what are we doing? Talking from first principles. Abstract power versus real power. Abstract power being, I believe this president has power. I believe that guy has power. I believe that. Well, do they really? Does the Constitution have power if no one enforces the law? If no one stands up and does anything about it? No, of course not. But things that have real power would be that elk right there with the rack on his head, or a car. This is like, I love abstract power. I always tell my children, abstract power in the sense of laws. Oh, the pedestrians have the right of way crossing the road. No, they don't. I don't care what law says. That car has real power, not abstract power. That car will run you over no matter what the law says. And this is, again, thinking from first principles, but we don't operate in that world anymore as humans. We've removed ourselves. And I do believe one of my new theories, and my good friend Nolan Bowerly kind of talked about this a little bit, and then I was thinking about it and extrapolated it a little bit, but you think about the woke culture that we've had really for decades. And it really started getting bad when the wall fell in the early 90s, and the globalists, it kind of shifted, and they wanted this woke culture, and they, Agenda 21, and then it became Agenda 2030, and all these different programs and all this different social stuff. Charlie Kirk going away, unfortunately, trying to say it nicely, right? That was kind of the end of trying to argue with wokeism. Now it does feel like things have shifted. Like it's now the right fighting with itself. We've kind of moved on in society. Not that to say that wokeism doesn't exist, but trying to argue with people who just are operating on emotions. And as Scott Adams said, it's good versus good. Like, everyone thinks they're good. So it's not good versus evil. It's good versus good. Everyone thinks they're good. Everyone thinks they're the good guy. But when you're operating on emotions and you're not using logic, we know intelligence goes down. So now we're going to have a really hard time. Well, we've kind of looked like we've progressed in society a little bit to a degree, at least leveling up in the sense of, is it going to exist? Yeah, we still have remnants of the past, but we have people fighting an more open discourse where you're only going to be taken seriously going into the future when there's more transparency. Lincoln Douglas style debates, longer form stuff. Bitcoiners doing what they do on spaces, on podcasts, at conferences, sitting around together in the locker room, philosophizing about what's going on in the world. That's the world we are in now. Charlie Kirk was really the signification. I mean, look at Tucker Carlson's, look at the Candace Owens. They're gone. They left politics. I mean, there's a lot of people, the Cernoviches, right? There's a lot of people who kind of realized, woke up on both sides of the aisle and said, yeah, I'm out. There's something bigger at play. And the two things, which you've noticed, the Russell Brands, Tucker Carlson's, Candace Owens, a lot of them talking spiritually now, right? And because like we said earlier, and we've talked about a long time on this channel, 10, 15, 20 years, I've written about this. I know we haven't been, this group of people, maybe I haven't been talking about it with, but this is a spiritual battle. The one thing I would say is for everyone to do this weekend is to watch for the next week, it's a 4-hour podcast, but Sean Ryan show, Father Rippinger. He's been becoming bigger over the last number of years. But when you start studying exorcism and exorcists, the scales start falling from your eyes really quick about life and what's actually happening in life and the levels of the universe and what's happening. And so that will, if you haven't gone down that road, I suggest you go down that road because there's really two worlds going on. There's that supernatural world, good versus evil, and then there's the monetary, follow the money, and the secular or material world. Those are the two worlds. And evil wants to control, evil in that supernatural world wants to control. This is why I brought up a year or two ago, I wrote that the pyramid of what controls society. And we're getting there. People are starting to wake up to this. It's becoming more and more apparent every day to people of what's happening. And evil does not want that to happen. It's going to be an incredible fight, though. All right, I had some other thoughts, but I want to get to some of your comments, stuff like that, because I don't remember exactly what I was even going to say now. Johnny, good to see you, brother. It's good to see you on a live stream. I'm glad you're able to catch a live stream, man. Johnny's been around for years on all my videos, and usually on the pods and stuff like that. And obviously just started doing the live streams in the last 3, 4, or 5 months. So it's great to see you, Johnny. Good to see you. So I appreciate you, brother. You are awesome. You rock. I see you on all the shows. You're so many shows. The people are willing to admit that they need to get it. The people are willing to admit that they need Bitcoin. Get it first. Yeah. I mean, it's a humility. It's a humility test. Bitcoin is not an IQ test. It really only is a humility test. Do I understand the world that I'm living in? Can I learn, unlearn, and then relearn what is happening in the world? And a lot of people can't do that. It's where you see like Nassim Taleb's, people breaking their mind. They can't get it. They can't understand it. My school didn't teach me this, right? He gets it, then he doesn't. The Jamie Dimons of the world, they don't want the existing system. I do believe truly there's a lot of conscious and subconscious fighting against Bitcoin because it renders my job useless. It renders my existence moot. It renders my profession obsolete. You name it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like I've said here before, I won't have a Bitcoin podcast in 10 years. That'll be rendered moot. It'll be rendered moot. Like it won't be anything. You won't need it because we'll be on a Bitcoin standard. Like there won't be a Bitcoin podcast. There's not going to be Bitcoin conferences in the future. So I know that my time, it's at a moment in time serving its purpose. And that's what I'm here to do. That's it. And then I'll find something else to do because I save in Bitcoin. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. I mean, think about that. So I already know that I can see the future. Bitcoiners can see the future. It's the only way you're able to, when you follow the money, economic literacy, financial literacy, and you understand Bitcoin and you understand that we are off on the life raft and you can see the monetary system for what it is and the flows of money, then you see the end game and you can see that I am going to need to do something else. I'm not going to have this job forever. I'm not going to have, I might be swinging hammers in 10 years or whatever. Like I'll do something else, something really fulfilling. I'm spending more time with family and kids. But because I've saved in Bitcoin, because you make that decision today to start stacking Bitcoin, to start DCAing, whatever it is, in 10 years when your job is obsolete or 5 years or 2 years or 20 years or whenever that robot comes for you, well, then guess what? You're ready because you have the Bitcoin. You got the corn. You're good to go. You don't care. You're not scared. You're not worried about the job change. You're excited. You're like, cool, now I can go where I'm best served. I mean, how many people hate their jobs now? How many people hate their job, right? It's a problem everywhere. It's because people, and this is another thing that breaks people's minds. People realize they were incentivized. All the incentives of society were so broken. When you tell them everything you know is based on a lie, it's a pseudoscience, economics, all these different things. No one thought to ask what the money was. They just accepted the premise and then just, okay, walked right into life, didn't think. 40 years on a job, zero thinking about money. Like, you're gonna spend all that time in money, or I'll spend all that time and energy and not think about what you're trading it for? All the time and energy. And you're trading it for what? Infinite pieces of paper? Come on. So now you have people that can't take that. It breaks their mind. They realize that their existence won't be there. Their profession won't be there in the future. So they're scared. You have to humble yourself to Bitcoin. Humble yourself. It's an EQ test. Humility versus ego. It's not IQ. You can tell the smartest, poorest, dumbest, richest. Here's 21 million. Like, let's do it. Let's do the math of it. And it's renewable energy and it fixes this and it does captured and flared gas and all these things. You can go to your blue in the face about all the benefits of Bitcoin and everything it's doing for society. And look, most people don't get it. Because it's an EQ. It's an EQ fight. Is society begging on their hands and knees? Do they need Bitcoin? Do they need sound money? That's why Bitcoin's here at the end of the day. It was born in the financial crisis. Bitcoin being at 70,000, it only tells me that, you know what? There's not people hurting that much. When people are hurting, guess what? Bitcoin is going to become priceless. Bitcoin is a trade of hope because the world around you is crashing. Unlike Larry Fink says, it's a trade of fear. It is not. The trade of fear is I'm moving out of the thing I'm fearful of. See, again, the currencies are a con game, the government currencies. They are backed by nothing, but you believe they are. The business owner believes that it is. The teacher believes it is. So it has value. When that person realizes it's backed by nothing, and it's actually not worth the paper it's printed on, then it will cease having value. That's called hyperinflation. Boom. Value goes away. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is energy. It always has value. I don't need the permission of some king, despot, dictator. It always has value because it is energy. I worked for it. I mined it. That's the beauty of it. It's a container for your time and energy. So it's a need to know basis. Like Mr. Dinkles is saying here, it's a need to know basis. When you are hurting enough, and I only got here because, again, I was studying monetary history and all the things I saw in my life, doing the real estate for 10 years and realizing there's no one that can do this. Real estate was like the best way to get out of the, fiat rat race. And I realized no one could do it because the time, energy, capital, experience, everything you needed. Right when I stopped playing professional hockey, or as I was playing, I was studying everything I could in 08, 09, 10, 11. And I was, going to conferences, reading, about marketing and real estate and all these things and watching every video I could for 4 or 5 years, and then started doing that and did it for 10 years and realized there's no one that can do this. How can anyone do what I'm doing? Right? Or, very small percent of society. You can't. And you're using houses as a store of value. So how does that work for everybody else? Well, we can see it doesn't work very well because now everyone's trying to use it as a store of value and now no one can afford housing. It doesn't work very well. You can see with gold and silver prices that we just had with gold and silver. Prices of that goes up. Well, guess what? Now it's more unaffordable for the average person. It's not a network we can actually transact on well, hence why it's been centralized for 5,000 years. It gets centralized, and we have to put fiat and credit on top of it. You can't do it globally. So when silver and gold prices go up in the government currency, now it either doesn't get produced, the things, electronics or things that we use it for. So your standard of living goes down and your cost of living goes up. Or again, it doesn't even get produced because it's too expensive. I mean, think about that. That's the money you're choosing to use. That's wild. We ain't going back. The toothpaste is out of the tube. People are waking up. There's too much technology. There's too much education. There's too many books. There's too much out there. The toothpaste is out of the tube, and it's not going back in. We ain't going back in the tube. We ain't going back in. Absolutely wild. More pain will be needed. Trini, what is up? What is up? It's so blatantly obvious what the problem is. The ethics over economics. Fix the monetary system. Separate it from the state. The state will be, money was here a lot longer, the state was here after money, right? So the money was here before the state, and the money will be here after the state. But right now, we're in a part of history where people believe money is a part of the state. The nation state is, well, it gives us money. That's what the state does. It's not the state. That's not how this works. Literally not at all. Money is between two individuals, trading your time and energy between two individuals. Money creation comes from humans, really, right? Like money is from human beings. The value, the container, the communication, the ledger between people, who owns what. The state has nothing to do with that. And we found out a way to have no middlemen in that transaction. First time in human history. That is incorruptible, right? So all these other scam coins, altcoins, whatever, they say the same thing. That's where, Larry Fink and, these guys, let me see here, pull this back up. Larry Fink and Brian Armstrong, they're over here trying to scam you with their ETH or, scam you with whatever other BS coin they're going to do. But they're centralized. They're companies. They're not money at the end of the day. So you're recreating the system on top of the old system. The properties of Bitcoin are what set it apart. It's not because someone, just because someone got in 2010 or 2015 or 2020 before Paul did today, doesn't mean they're trying to scam you. It means that the properties are better. That's why Bitcoiners are so hardcore. It's because the properties are self-evident. The properties are right there if you want it. But the Constitution, these things weren't self-evident to everybody. They still had to be talked about. The Federalist Papers, Thomas Paine's Common Sense, they still had to be negotiated. They still had to be talked about. They still had to convince people. And only a couple % of people at the end of the day picked up the musket and said, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. Most people are not going to get it. Most people will not get it. They will be pulled along with the rest of society. They will be pulled along by the people who stood up and said, I'm not doing this. Pulled along by the people who built the circular economy, who built something, who stood their ground, who had a local meetup, peer-to-peer, doing things together, working for Bitcoin, paying in Bitcoin, building that circular economy, saving in sats. Warpaint, what up? Yeah, I haven't seen you in a little bit. Hope you're well. Good to see you too. Really good to see you. Yeah, I never knew what I wanted to do in school. I will always continue fighting the good fight as long as I have life inside of me. I will tell you that. It's the only thing I've known for 38 years. And I never knew what I wanted to do in school because this didn't exist when I was in school. And so I remember being at Michigan State, and my coach, one of the assistant coaches on the hockey team, would take you around. I think it was during like the official visits. So it ended up being at Michigan State, and I think it was my official visit there. You know what? It was after I committed already. I'd already committed to Michigan State actually, and then I went on my official visit actually. And he took me to one of the academic offices, and they're like, oh, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, very, very political in 2000s. And I was, I guess I'd be in politics. Like I had no idea. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. Nothing made sense ever. It's because 20 years later, I was supposed to be doing this. This didn't exist, right? Riverside, Restream, StreamYard didn't exist. The ability for us to be able to talk and communicate, everything. Bitcoin didn't exist. Like mobile phones barely existed, at least in their current modern smartphone form. I mean, think about that. 20 years ago, or this is, I guess, is 04, 05, but like, just over 20 years ago, most of these things didn't exist. So I didn't know, of course. And so you look at it and how much school has been disrupted. That's where we think like AI, all these things that are happening. That's why we talked about AI earlier. Where do we think things are going at the end of the day? Like, how are you going to outfight the deflation? They have to print massive amounts of currency to outstrip the deflation, to paper over the deflation that's coming, all the job losses. Like, where do we think the job losses are? Not to mention just the hiccups in the economy that are coming, but just the job losses themselves. What are we going to be doing? How are they going to paper over just the job losses, right? So you're going to have this world of UBI. I'm going to be in the government somehow, and the government coffers, and be dependent on the government. And as Jim Rohn, one of my favorite personal development mentors of all time, said, if you rely on the government for your retirement, you can divide by 5. And if you rely on yourself for your retirement, you can multiply by 5. And I've never forgot that. It was like 09, 2010 when I first heard that, right when I was getting out of school, because I knew as soon as I got out of school, I started learning about money and reading about money immediately, because school didn't teach anything. Michigan State, public institution, loved playing hockey there. It was amazing, amazing times. Won the national championship. It was amazing. But that didn't teach me about money. Those skills didn't, nothing I learned there taught me about money. all the success, everything, right? Like didn't teach you anything. Doesn't matter. These things didn't exist. And here we are now. Because fighting the good fight for truth, trying to at least fight for the truth, what it seems to be the truth, is all I've thought about and all I know at the end of the day. And trying to get the root core problem and zoom out. Like I have almost no time for the current events of the day, because that's just bullet holes or band-aids on bullet holes. It's just trying to slap quick fixes, arson in the firefighter. Like, what is the root core problem? That's the thing I've never understood in politics. And that's why Bitcoin became very easy. Once you're studying money and the history of money, it became very easy for me to see. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it just became very easy. It was like, because my mind was always thinking the core rabbit hole issues of like, what's actually at the root of this? What causes these people to do these things? Why are we doing the same thing over? Why does no one like Congress yet they keep getting voted in, right? Like all these questions were like, whoa, let's back up. Whoa, let's back up. That's why you're constantly asking these questions. And then so Bitcoin becomes much more palatable. So I promise I will always be fighting the good fight. You guys will probably go back in like 2011, started a blog then, a WordPress blog and stuff. And I was talking about gold and truth, Constitution. I think I got to find it. It's like waking people from their stupor. I think it was called Common Sense actually as well. I think it was called Common Sense. And that was the tagline, is waking people from their stupor. So, Chris, what's good? Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys a ton. And for being members. We're going to start doing members chat, by the way. We will start doing that. Maybe next week or something like that. I'll have to do like something, talk to everybody and see when the best time to do like a members chat is, maybe on the weekends or members live stream. So I appreciate you guys supporting the channel, a few bucks a month. We'll add more to it over time. So I appreciate you guys doing that. Never talk about that, really, or just once in a while. All right, Brandon, are you Christian? If so, what type of church are you part of? Yes, I am Christian. I am Roman Catholic. So I grew up Roman Catholic my entire life. And really over the last 5-6 years, really woke up to the Father Rippinger, like I said earlier, exorcist, what really, really got me down rabbit holes of understanding things like I'd never understood them before, quite honestly, and realizing, wow, this explains so much of life. And going in the history of that, just good versus evil, spirits, the levels of angels, it's so insanely wild that that's why the global pedophile satanic cult, it makes complete sense. Like it's like, yeah, of course. Like when you start studying the angels and everything that's going on, it makes complete sense. What's happening. And Jesus did went and fought. I forget what one of the last stops he made up north, the far north. Oh my gosh. And he went in, they were sacrificing children, and he, that's where he said the gates of the netherworld will never prevail against my kingdom, stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, I was always a very faithful person, but I will say the last 6 years have shaped me more than I could ever imagine. Let's just say that. Very grateful for that. Very, very grateful for that. Nick Hiller's mustache is the thought leader if that entire operation. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Nick's on a different level. Nick is on a different level. That's for sure. Oh my goodness. Down Under Blues, what is up? Good day. What time is there? Morning time there for you or what? Yeah, the American Bakers Association is lobbying against the entire crypto industry. The ABA is the problem. Again, it makes me think of taxis, Uber, all these different things. I mean, this happened. Electricity came out. This happened. I think it was, I don't know who it was now, but Brian Dimon's book, Bitcoin Evangelism, does a really good job of talking about this, about all the technology just in the last 150 years where the existing legacy system fought against it and how dumb they ended up looking every single time. So it's just tough. It's tough to see because we're in it right now and we don't understand it because we're living in it. And when you look back, it's very obvious, extremely obvious, but there's only going to be so many people that zoom out. Most people just don't have the time because they're on the fiat hamster wheel and they're not paying attention. They're tired and they're working 3 jobs, and that's the world we live in. So again, until we fix and separate money from state, which by the way, separating education from state will come as well, which is another thing. I mean, how are they controlling things? You control the youth, you control the future. Control the youth, you control the future. So separate money from state, then we get separation of education and state. We already have separation of church and state, right? We've got all these things. We're knocking them down. We're knocking down the dominoes, guys. The future is very bright, but are we going to have shenanigans in the interim? The reason I appreciate all of you here is because you actually care. I know there's some big Bitcoiners, God love them. They're off in a field somewhere. They never come to Twitter. They never come to spaces. They never come to podcasts. They never come to the chat here and live streams. They're never coming to conferences. They're never doing local meetups. They're not, right? They're just saving in Bitcoin. And I applaud those people, but at the same time, they're not on the same path as we are, because we need people that are going to push the envelope and change society. They're doing their part, right? Because everyone's built to do different things. They're hopefully self-custodying Bitcoin, putting on their stamp seed, stuff like that. And they're doing that, not keeping on exchanges to do their part. But at the end of the day, if no one cares about Bitcoin and no one's talking about it and no one adopts it, then it is not going to matter. That investment they made is going to be useless at the end of the day if no one's using Bitcoin. Saylor talked about this a few years ago. The biggest threat to Bitcoin is no one using Bitcoin. That is the biggest threat. No one knowing about Bitcoin. So it's a time to level up society and not being scared about, oh, there's this happening, there's that happening. Oh, it's pedo coin and this and that. None of that matters. If you have the protocol, if you have the thing you know you need, a lot of it doesn't matter. I mean, almost everything else is moot. You fight till the death for that thing, period. No matter what happens, because you know you have the thing. All the downstream stuff is kind of, it's not moot, but it's secondary. And then that first thing is you fight David and Goliath. You're fighting with that stone. You got that stone in your hand, those pebbles, and you're going. And you're all in at that point. ABA is going away. They don't know it yet. They think they can stomp it out like the taxi club. The younger generation is not going back. I don't know how many times you have to say that. Brian Armstrong, he's trying to play both worlds. He's trying to, but again, he's losing, right? It's always funny watching like an athlete sign a contract, because I always denominate in Bitcoin. I always think like, yeah, he's got 10 million bucks or 100 million or whatever it is, but he's got 0 Bitcoin. Like he's losing. If he only keeps it in that fiat, he'll lose. Brian Armstrong could have 1 million, 2 million Bitcoin. He is losing. He only has 10,000 Bitcoin. So he's losing compared to what he could have. He still has 10,000 Bitcoin, or his company does, right? But he's losing comparatively to what he could have, because he's not thinking in terms of Bitcoin. The hardest money ever. He's playing fiat games, and you will get fiat rewards if that happens. My stock trades. What up? What up? Good at interviews last few days. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, we just had Jeff Booth on yesterday that came out, and we had Luke Groman in the last week, and we had Matt Hogan in the last week. Some awesome guys. Really, really blessed and grateful to have these guys come on over the last few weeks. Got Terrence Michael coming up on Sunday, author of Proof of Money. One of my favorite guys. I mean, so many of those guys, all those guys are awesome guys to chat with and talk to. So go check those out. Let me know your thoughts. Had Scott Horton on, talking about the war. Had Checkmate on a week or two ago, and Stephen Paranod, he's an astrophysicist. Daniel Batten on recently. Parker Lewis, Joe Carlosari, American Hodl, Caitlin Long, and Samson Mao, all in the last month or two. I think that was the last 10 episodes or so. So appreciate you guys tuning into those, and the feedback, everything just really means a lot. And also how we can get better as well going forward. So trying to level up what we're doing, provide signal. This is how I learned. This is how a lot of us have learned, but this is how I learned. YouTube, tons, thousands of hours of YouTube over the last 10, 15 years, listening to all these people. So I feel grateful that I get to talk to them and ask the questions I would like to ask them, and then put them out there to share and expand our knowledge set. And hopefully, I always think if there's one person every time that can change from this interview, it's a win, because it's not going to happen overnight. So if we can just change one person every single interview, and you extrapolate that with all the different interviews going on or whatever it is, I mean, think about that. It's just like, you never know that one person that's the next Saylor, the next George Washington, the next, that's the compounding impact that we'll have. So I appreciate that, my stock trades. Mr. Dinkles, oh yeah, they don't want you using your brain, thinking for yourself, Brandon. Yeah, they definitely don't. Conform, comply, obey. That's what the government-run school system is, right? The Prussian school system, Frankfurt school, all that. The bell rings. Go to school at this time. Go to vacation this time. Ask when you can go to the bathroom. Conform, conform, conform. The Rockefellers, he's the quote from, "We want doers, not thinkers." These guys didn't want competition. And this is the fiat. That's the fiat system. It's the fiat system. These guys are the ones that brought in. We had free banking at that time too, but those guys did not like that at the end of the day. A lot of those guys, right, the Titanic stuff and the JP Morgans, a lot of these guys wanted central banking. This is the tenets of communism. We had 2 central banks. Now we have our third one. They finally got another one. They snuck it in. We've had it and the IRS for 112 years, and the income tax all in the last 112, 13 years. Insane, but it's going away. It is going away. More dumb things will happen. More of all of us will talk, say things, offer solutions, offer an escape hatch, and people will take them one at a time. There's my stamp seed right there, actually. Boom. Get your stamp seed. This one's blank. So I think we got a code in there for 15% off in the description. Support the show, support Bitcoiners. James is an awesome guy. I know a couple of guys over there at Stamp Seed, but put your seed, get your Bitcoin off exchanges, get them off Brian Armstrong's flipping Coinbase, put it in a Cold Card or a Jade or a Foundation Passport, and get it on a Stamp Seed. My goodness, take ownership. It's the only asset you can own. Actually own. There's no counterparty risk, and you can move it instantly anywhere in the world. It's nuts. You can't do that with anything else. Can't do it with gold and silver. You can't do that with real estate, bonds, nothing. There's only one Bitcoin. There truly is, Trini. There truly is. And going back to this too, again, the school system that's why did we think so many people just sat down and obeyed during COVID? Why? 100+ years, generations of people just complying. Okay, yep, I'll do that, teacher. Yep, okay. Why do we see the scores of genius level kids going down from 2 years old to 18 years old? Because they're going through government schools. Sparkly Horns, what up? Appreciate the love. Dan, what up? Good to see you. Really good to see you guys. Really appreciate you guys being here a ton. I should bring up the... All right, bringing up. So the one thing that I'm bringing up the Shroud of Turin so people can see it. Wait, where is it? There we go. So one of the things that really got me years ago was the Eucharistic miracles. So if anyone's ever heard of those, go look those up. The Eucharistic miracles, and like the stories of like doctors going and testing the host, the bread, and there's like human cells on them, or and the stories that are behind that are unreal. So I forgot the Shroud of Turin. There's one the staircase that was built. I think it was in Mexico, but like the stories that there are, this just goes back to the supernatural. This world, the world that's out there that exists that we just don't understand. And the people dying, coming back to life. That's another thing we've gone on the rabbit hole too. Like people dying and coming back to life, and like just insane, absolutely insane. So that's where, like, again, I think society, we got so far away in this wokeism and like thinking like we're the center of the universe. There's stuff way bigger than us out here, way bigger than us. And it's like only when humans can get closer to the truth and humble ourselves can we then, and only then, really start joining together and using Bitcoin and getting to, and maybe Bitcoin helps us do that, and getting from a type 0 society to a type 1 Kardashev society, stuff like that, harnessing the energy, using it together. And this goes back to, I don't know who I was talking to the other day about the Tower of Babel and how Bitcoin is the highest form of human communication. Money is, right? Because you have communication all around the world, is communicating market sentiment. And you have the Tower of Babel where what happened? People are trying to be gods. So it could be, I don't know, whatever. It could be AI. It could be Neuralink. It could be, I'm trying to have fake children or in a fake embryo or a fake, plastic body or whatever. And so it could be anything, right? We're trying to be gods. We're trying to play God. And all of a sudden they get scattered and their communication is changed. So when you start going down these rabbit holes, it's wild. And it's not only wild in and of itself in its own right, but then coming back to Bitcoin, like coming back to the modern day and how these things link up is absolutely insane. And I want to write a book about some of these things and how just thousands of years ago, the history and everything that's happening, coming to now. Anyway. um, yeah, I don't know. It's just wild. But yeah, the Shroud of Turin, go look into this. Go look into the Eucharistic miracles. Oh, sorry, I didn't have this up there. Oh, no, I did. I had the Shroud of Turin up, but I didn't have your comment up there, Chris. Yeah, I do. Go check in all the stuff. Again, we don't. It's really inexplicable. So many, so many of the things that I've studied over the last like 5 or 10 years, like there's nothing, you know, I haven't been able to. I want to come up with answers. I want to come up with reasons as why a lot of things happen, but I can't. Right? Your human brain wants to. It wants to, but I guess that's faith at the end of the day, right? Like we don't. I guess because we don't have all the answers in the world and we never can, you then have to, I mean, you have to then leave room for faith. That's where I've come to a lot of this over the years, where it's like, I'm only a man. I'm only a speck of dust in this universe. I don't have all the answers and I never will. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. And that therefore leads me to believe I must have faith. I must trust in God. I must have trust in the higher being, because who am I? Right? I can't control the oceans. I can't control anything. I can barely control my own life. I can't control anyone. Right? So that to me is where, in my opinion, I think that a lot of society has gone wrong because we've tried, again, that's like how life goes, right? Like we all get away from the truth and then we come back to the truth, and we get away from the truth and we come back to the truth. So anyway, we can talk more about that going forward. Just fascinating. I've studied the Rothschild family. Once you see it, yeah, boy, what's up? It's not good. Not good. I'm studying right now. I don't have it on me, but it's the secret founding of the United States, the Freemasonry, the Puritans, and something else. I forget what it's called now. But it's all about basically the 1500s and that leading to a lot of people coming over around 1600 and coming over during that time period, the Rothschilds, like all this stuff. And then it leads into the Freemasonry with John Wilkes Booth and all this stuff, the Civil War. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And also reading Stalin's War, which is great as well, about the communists infiltrating FDR's presidency, like all kinds of stuff. I mean, just from the Bolshevik Revolution on, wild. I mean, just the thing is, like, they're two different history books that you just don't hear. They're not in the mainstream, and they're of course not pumped out by the legacy world, by the government-run school system. So you start trying to triangulating truth, and it really becomes, and follow the money, right? The Rothschilds. I care not who controls makes the laws. If I control the money, I control the world, right? That was Meyer Amschel Rothschild, the famous grandfather that ran the dynasty and started it. And that tells you all you need to know. Follow the money. Follow the money analysis. It tells you, show me the incentives, I'll show you the outcome. As Charlie Munger said, which I don't believe, or I don't trust a lot of what I'm not good with a lot of what Charlie Munger says, but he's still a smart dude and has a lot of smart investing principles. And that's one smart quote that he has, which is, show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome. Stay humble and stack stats. Stack the dip. 100%. That's all you need to do. Keep the main thing the main thing. That's it. Keep it right there, locked in every day. Stay humble, stack stats. Be humble. Don't try to outkick your coverage. Using crazy leverage on stuff and doing, funny games, trying to catch up, trying to get more. Just provide more value than you consume and put your sats in cold storage. What up? What up, Poppy? Senor Gringo Poppy. What is good? Viva Mexico. What is up? I bet that weather's nice down there. Man, it's like snowing and cold here in Michigan and windy. It's like 50-mile-an-hour winds. Happy Friday, blessed exile. What is good? What is good? Man, it's good to see everybody. What a chat. What a chat here today. Appreciate you guys a ton. There was many other things I wanted to talk about. However, of course, we got going in 20 different directions. Let me see here. Anyone have anything else? We talked about the podcast. Go check those out. As long as expected the pound. I mean, it's Boris Johnson. What are we doing here? Ripple. This is really the Greenpeace thing. Daniel Betten's done such a good job over the years of combating the FUD. Ripple, what they are doing with Greenpeace. And I think him and Troy Cross, somebody convinced, or Orange Pill, the guy that did the Skull of Satoshi and Orange Pill, that guy actually. I mean, that's absolutely wild. How is it down there in Mexico? I just came back from Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta was amazing. Now in Atlanta, back home. Oh, nice. What? How was it down there though? Because they were making a big deal, obviously, about all the stuff going on and whatever. I don't know if it started with El Mencho getting taken out, and then there was all kinds of chaos down there for a week or two. So I don't know. I remember you saying something about that before. Boy, Hockey East. Oh man, UConn versus BU. Is that going on right now this weekend? Big tilt. Well, Hockey East action. Let's go. I'm down for that. Kind of nice here, but it's, yeah. And the ATL, dang. No, I've not been to the Galloping Ghost Arcade in Michigan. I have not. Interesting. I'm going to look into that. Where is that at? I got to find. So Jack Mallers, we were talking about that. Amazing. Let's see here. I'm just looking through my bookmarks to see. So yeah, the bond market's going crazy, of course. Zero hedge. Belcher and dip 110. Oh, this was one of the other things too. Stanley Druckenmiller. I don't know. It looks like I thought this was AI at first. Apparently not. He was, I guess he got Bitcoin as a trade 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and understood it, but I don't know. A solution looking for a problem. I don't know. Druckenmiller's a smart dude, and he's worked with Besant too, which is interesting. But how do we not? What are we talking about, Stanley? Like, well, literally, what are we talking about? The thing I don't understand, guys, is this belief in a fake currency. Like, people believe that you have. Okay. I wouldn't say I'm a traditional anarchist. That's not what I would call myself. Like, generally speaking, I would not call myself that. However, I think you do have to go to that length in order to maybe make points with people. Like, I believe in the constitutional government that was founded here. And that's what I believe in. A very, very limited government. I have fights with my anarcho-capitalist friends, debates, but again, I could be persuaded either way, I guess, generally speaking. I mean, again, if the government was that limited, I mean, hey, we'd all be doing amazing and thinking amazing thoughts and everything would be great. But the thing that I don't understand, and maybe someone can help me, is that there's this thought that if you don't have a government currency, because, hey, Fisher been in the water his whole life, how does he know he's wet? I get it. Maybe that's the answer. But this belief, like Stanley Druckenmiller, like, you believed in Bitcoin theoretically for years, and now all of a sudden it's a solution looking for a problem. I mean, he says crypto, which maybe he's right, but then he says stable coins are going to be the future. Like, stable coins? It's attached to the dollar. Like, anyone would, especially you in that world, would know that. And we just believe that, like, governments, we didn't have governments. We didn't have nation states 5,000 years ago. We didn't have, like, the world. It's not the same world. Humans still existed. They still did things. They still conducted commerce. Were there more wars? Were we more Neanderthal-like? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, yes, globally we were. Yes, we were more primitive. But the fact that people think that we need government currencies to exist just blows my mind. Like, the sheer thought that, like, a fake currency backed by nothing is somehow good, and that's not a problem, Stanley? Like, that's needed to conduct life all of a sudden? Or we could have an immutable ledger that no one controls. No worries about sanctions. No worries about inflation. All the productivity gains of society and technology get to distributed back to the people. And now there's better health all over the world. But this goes back to the good versus evil spirits. I'm sorry. But evil wants power over human beings. The supernatural world, the level of playing field we're talking about, wants control over human beings. It's the highest form of power, is controlling humans. And Satan being mad that he was kicked out of heaven. Let's just cut to the chase. Let's just talk about it is what it is. And this is where, like, my brain only works in, like, those core root issues of, like, well, why is this? I need to know why this is, because then I can operate from there. Then we can go somewhere. Now I can move. Now I'm at base level. Now we can move forward. Now I've got the truth. So let's work with that. That is my only way my brain works. So Stanley, like this, like, what do you mean there's a solution looking for a problem? Do you all of a sudden think the dollar is backed by real world energy? It's just like Ethereum. The dollar is Ethereum, basically. Like Vitalik said, well, I'm paraphrasing, I don't really like Bitcoin because it's rooted in physics. I like this. I like Ethereum, what I made here, because, we get to basically screw around with it, do whatever we think is necessary at the time, roll the chain back, do whatever. I mean, that's the level of deception we're dealing with. And then you've got someone, where's my dang tab? Then you've got this guy getting in bed with Larry Fink and Ethereum. I mean, it's building a house of cards on top of cards. Like, you're right. Let's have more of the same. But hey, it's cool for you guys because you guys benefit. You guys get this scam. You are putting your trust and reputation and your leadership status out for people to take the bait, and then you rug pull them. I mean, that's just evil. That's just insidious stuff. Got to call it what it is. Biggest arcade in the world. Wow. No, I have not heard of that. I am going to have to look into that. I just did not know that. Well, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I will look into that. Oh, man. The bad stuff only lasted one day down in Mexico. It was super calm when I was there. No, it's good. Saw no damage, violence, riots, fires, nothing. Yeah, they were showing like videos on the beach of like their fires down the beach. You can see 20 miles down the beach. It was like, around the bend, you could see like fires going on, stuff like that. People like filming. But again, you don't even know what's AI and what's not anymore. So I don't even take 99% of what I see seriously on the internet, which is probably good. The funny thing is, like, you never, what was the thing? You can't always believe what you see on the internet. That was always the thing, right? For 20 years. And now it's like real. Now it actually is real. And now it's actually good in a way, because now people are actually having to do their homework instead of just mindlessly being a robot themselves, which, most still are. A lot of us still are to a degree. We need to be broken out of our, which again, we are breaking out. We are. Have you seen behind the wall at the furthest point? Have you been behind the wall? I don't think so, Nuclear. I don't think I have. I can't say I have. Gone down the rabbit hole numerous times in my life in different areas, but I don't think so. Space is not the final frontier. You are. Oh, I do believe in that. Yeah, 100%. 100% Nuclear. I do believe that we are the final frontier. I mean, God is omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's everywhere and everywhere, all the time. And all of us, like, that's, 100%. We are the final frontier. Wish I could post pics here. Yeah, no, I wish you could too. I wish these chats, like, how do we not have the technology to have better chats and everything on here? Like, it's got to be better. How obvious is it? Well, I mean, clearly it's not that obvious, Krang, because 99% of people don't see it. I leave myself open to, I'm the crazy person. Again, as a Bitcoiner, as someone who found Bitcoin, I always say Bitcoiners have to go through the gauntlet. We have to go through the fatal funnel. It was when you're in close quarters combat, going through a house, clearing a house as a special forces team or a fire team or something. The fatal funnel is the doorway, right? You got to go through that fatal funnel somehow, because that's where everyone's barrels are pointed. And that's what Bitcoiners had to do. I was gold and silver guy and real estate guy and politics guy for 2 decades. And then I was open though. My mind was always open to learning and growing. And then as I started studying crypto and Bitcoin and then in crypto, I realized, okay, this is a bunch of nonsense after a year and a half or whatever. But this Bitcoin thing, oh my goodness, like this is, 2016, 17, 18. And I'm just like, holy cow, like this Bitcoin thing literally solved 99% of the politics BS, the red versus blue stuff, the Occupy Wall Street and Tea Party. They're arguing they're two sides of the same coin, yet everyone told them they were opposite. I mean, all these things. I was like, whoa, that brings these people together and puts us on the same side of the table. It fixes all these things. It fixes the incentives. So to me, it was obvious once I got it, to your point, right? Like it's obvious once you see it, and it's crazy until you don't. But you have to be open. You've got to be open-minded. I do believe Bitcoiners are probably some of the most open-minded people that are out there, because you have to be open-minded to see Bitcoin, because it is a humility play. It is an EQ play. Hey, I might not know everything. And that's why we said earlier, the big thing with Bitcoin, or people, that's why it's harder the older you get to receive Bitcoin or understand it, grok it, because you have more life to unlearn. That's tough. That takes a lot. What was the article Mike Green or someone wrote about my life as a lie? I think it was Mike Green. I'm interviewing Mike Green in a couple of weeks, actually, who's not notoriously a big Bitcoiner to my knowledge, or at least my understanding. I might be mixing him up now, but my life is a lie. right? I think, yeah, it was Mike Green, because he wrote the article about $140,000 being the poverty line. And he's not wrong. That's a great article he wrote. And it's not, you have to understand the problem, and that the problem, and I think maybe the younger generations, because it's the older generation generally has had the opportunity of more wealth and they've had more time to be in the system. It shrouds you from what's actually going on and what you're seeing in life, if that makes sense, right? So the younger generation, 40, 45 and younger, ain't going back. They don't know anything but chaos and disastrous systems. The Bubba effect, not trusting any institution. You're not putting that toothpaste back inside the tube. The Bill of Rights, Constitution, those things might exist, the Bitcoin white paper, but the rest of it's going down. All politicians, gone. There's going to be a lot of change in the next 10 or 20 years. Bitcoiners coming to power, Bitcoiners going to politics, Bitcoiners running businesses that have a way different ethos. They have the ethos we have here. It's going to be way different, way different. Ripping the printer away from the government, ripping money from state. And then education comes after that. Education and state. That's why it might take a generation, a generation or two, a couple generations where you have a real Bitcoin standard, because the younger generation is going to know nothing but Bitcoin. My kids know nothing but Bitcoin. They know the difference between sound money and soft money and weak money, currencies. They know those differences at single digit ages. That's not going back in the tube. So, and there's a lot of Bitcoiners like that. There's a lot of young kids like that. They're seeing that. They're waking up. They have access to the AI and asking it questions. They have that knowledge now where you can't unsee that. As someone said earlier, you can't, the Rothschild comment, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So Trump wanted the files. Yeah, I mean, my belief a little bit. So like, and again, this is mind reading. It's cognitive dissonance to a degree. He might be in the files. I have no idea. I don't know how much he's in or whatever. I do believe there's an element of the kayfabe, as Nolan Bowerley would say, that he was playing with Elon and they were kind of, hype prize fighting, hyping, and just like, oh yeah, he's in the files, blah, blah, blah. Because what would lead people to then want to see what's in the files? That would lead your adversaries to want to see the files. Like, oh, yeah. Okay, let's do it. We got to see these files. And then you're like, oh, okay. Okay, you want them? Here they are. So again, should all these things be redacted? Yeah. I mean, again, this goes back to the government should be fearing the people, not the people fearing government. Why are redacted? Unless there's victims, like redacted victims' names. Why in the world are anyone else's names redacted at this point? Like, and this is where the younger generation, like I have very little patience for this now. And a lot of the younger generation has very little patience for this. And it's like, no, the scales are going to come off the eyes. I'm not only are we going to see the wizard behind the curtain, but I'm tearing the curtain down. We're going to see who's swimming naked. Yeah, because that's the life we are entering. The younger generation just won't put up with it. The lack of transparency, the two-tiered, 3-tiered, 4-tiered, 10-tiered justice system we're in, all this, it's going to be fixed, because Bitcoin is not going to be, 1860 Civil War, but it's going to be Bitcoin taking over and healing everything. It's like Jesus and the money changers. What did Jesus do? He comes in, takes out all the money changers, ironically. And then what happened to the temple? Everything started healing. All the poor, the meek, the humble, the blind, the lame, they all started coming back in. That's all of us. We are those people. We're the blind, the weak, the lame, the humble. That's us coming back in. Coming back because nature is healing. You get rid of the money changers. You get rid of the cartel. You get rid of the government currencies, which, mind you, break multiple commandments by their very existence. The mark of the beast. By the very existence of government currencies. Now, right now, what we have, the US dollar, the world reserve currency that people are forced to be on, or you're beat over the head if you don't use it, it steals from you. Thou shalt not steal. I mean, right there, number one, it steals by its very nature, by its essence, it steals from you. Breaks multiple commandments immediately on existence. You can't have good fruit from a bad tree. Again, this is first principles. Very simple, common sense. This is why I'm saying, like, how obvious is it? I mean, it's obvious, but you've got to humble yourself to it. You got to see it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's impossible to go back. And every day, there'll be someone watching the stream today or now or later in the replay, and they will see it. The scales will fall from their eyes. They'll go do research. They'll see it. And then the next person and the next person. And it's on us to show up, continue talking, continue chatting about it. The meetups, the books, education, the podcasts, the spaces, the conference, the TV appearances, et cetera, et cetera. Like, this is why the family meetings, the family talks, how Thanksgiving, Christmas time, talking about it, bugging your, because we love them. bugging your friends and family about it because we love them. That's why. And it quiets society. It lowers pressure and noise, the incentives, everything healing. When the temple was all crazy with the money changers, the poor were getting destroyed. Chaos, evil. But when the money changers are gone and we separate money and state, healing, pressure and noise goes down. Humility, love. Bitcoin demonetizes war. We'll talk more about that in the future here. Next week we'll talk about it. You are the final frontier. It's so true. Nuclear nailed it. Out until he realized he's in them over 4,000 times. I mean, again, I haven't really read any of the Epstein files, so I mean, I'd have to take your word for it. I have to go trust and verify. I have no idea. I would imagine. I mean, I feel like I feel like this is the reason that the Epstein files aren't out, right? Is because there's probably 10,000 people in the world that are implicated in these, more, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 people. The whole system would collapse. Literally the whole entire world would collapse. It would just go into chaos. But maybe not, because look, you had a bunch of it come out, and look, no one did anything. So maybe it wouldn't. Maybe you could have the entire world implicated in what's going on, all the leaders we've had for decades, and no one would do anything. I mean, COVID, no one did anything. Epstein files, we had 3 million pages or whatever it was. No one did anything really. Like, we had 1 arrest so far. I mean, what are we doing? But the only thing I'll say to that, Krang, is that, well, I guess they only did 3 million. I don't know how many more pages there are out there. So I know they did part of them. I know there's a lot of people that believe they'll release more, like they're going to do the rest of them here. But again, we still have the JFK stuff. He said to Judge Napolitano at the end of the first administration, or the first term, that he would do it before he left office. He never did. And then he looked at Napolitano and said, Judge, if you knew what I knew, or if you saw what I saw, you wouldn't do it either. So, yeah, Trump is not your mind's daddy. You are. Yeah, exactly. You are. I mean, it's all mindset at the end of the day. The 6 higher faculties will control all of us. Every morning with my kids, we read the thinking poem. If you think you're going to win, you will. If you think you won't, you can't. It's such a great poem. I've read it on one of these live streams before, actually. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, again, yeah, Trump's not a savior. He's just a man. He's a fallible man, obviously. But I think he is playing a game, though, and he's taken out the global order. I think he believes he can't stand the globalist order. Now, are people using him? The CIA is giving him bad intelligence and all that. This is where, again, the mind reading comes in. Maybe. It looks like I can make an argument that he's really giving the middle finger to Britain, the British crown, and he's trying to disrupt the global order, is what it looks like. So take it for what it is. I mean, I kind of explained earlier, went into detail about some of these different ways, so I don't want to rehash it necessarily, but yeah, we manifest. It's in our mind, everything. If you believe you need capital gains and from your Bitcoin taken away in order to use Bitcoin, then that's in your mind. I know lots of people who are using Bitcoin every day and they're doing whatever they want. I mean, it's just like Robert Kiyosaki would always say this about real estate. They're like, oh, you can't do that here. You can't do that deal that you did here, there. You can't do it here. And he's like, you can't, but I can. And that's not because of accredited investor rules. It's because you're in your own mind. You are in your own mind. You're in your own way. And that's most people. I truly believe most people don't believe they're worthy of Bitcoin. They don't know they don't even know how to have their own agency, make their own decisions, because they're used to conform, comply, obey with government-run schools. Simple. We have the communist, the globalist order, Hollywood, schools, government, the currency, the communist planks, knocking them all down. We have society compulsory schooling for 100 years. I mean, how do people, of course people can't think. Of course people sat down in 2020 and just, okay, I'll weld myself into my home. Sure. They don't know any different. Hey, sit down. You're a bad boy. Yeah, I do. So that Hat Boy, the founding fathers, and if they had good intentions or not, the thing that I'm reading right now is about the Freemasons and the Puritans and all that stuff. And, a number of them were Freemasons. It looks like, George Washington was, which I'd heard before. that's a fascinating rabbit hole that we can get into another day. I, I find it interesting. I feel like it does seem like they are being propped up to a degree, maybe by some outside forces. They obviously had help, whether it's the French or like, different things fighting the British. So there were different things that went on. But to put yourself on the line like that, I mean, I feel like you would have to have good intentions, at least in order to put yourself on the line like that. So that's an interesting, but again, at the end of the day, this goes back to the white paper, and whether it's NSA that created the white paper, or Jeffrey Epstein, or it's Satoshi Nakamoto, or some guy or girl or a group of people, doesn't matter. Like the toothpaste out of the tube, like, here we go. We got this. We have the Federalist Papers, Common Sense, the Bill of Rights, the Bitcoin white paper. The Bitcoin white paper is this 2.0. Like we have these things, the toothpaste out of the tube, and people aren't going back. So it doesn't matter who created fire. It doesn't matter who created the calculator. If the worst person in the world created these things, it's not like, look at all the medicines that people use now. So many medicines, or there's a lot of medicines that people use they came from horrific things, testing on human beings, doing different stuff in World War II or whatever, Dachau. It's like, I don't see people standing up and be like, you know what? I'm not using, penicillin because it was, so humans are going to use, we rationalize it because it's like, oh, it was history. It happened in the past. So like, whatever, I'm going to use it. So that's, but I do believe, like, looking at a lot of their writings though, you get a general sense that they, at least directionally, looks like they had good intentions. So they, I've read about numerous of them over the years, and it looks like directionally they had the right intentions. Now, again, follow the money. We can't always track all that, so it's tough to confirm that, but it seems like they're pretty good. Definitely some Freemasonry stuff in there, some interesting connections, but it is somewhat tough to follow all that. And I'm not an expert in following the money all the way back that far in 1600s up to 1800. So that those two, the 17th century and 17th and 18th century. That's the thing I want to shore up actually myself. I want to learn more about those two centuries. You're the clarity actor. You're Trump's daddy. I love it, Nuclear. I absolutely love it. Your energy. Bitcoin is you. You are me. I absolutely love it. Yeah, maybe my greater self dislikes part of myself. Oh man. Yeah, it's so true, Nuclear. Like, Trump is the dirty thoughts you've had. Coinbase CEO is also dirty thoughts you manifest. It is, because if people were pure and people were doing what was necessary, these things wouldn't exist. I mean, again, yeah, I absolutely love that. It's so true. These things exist. If you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. So it's people worrying about things instead of just doing. Oh, this diminished. Oh, it's that. Oh, it's this. When's the Bitcoin going to do this? Oh, okay, great. The ETFs are here. So great. Now I don't have to do anything. These are all these thoughts we have subconsciously a lot of times. The fears, and they manifest themselves. I love that. That's a whole different show. That's a whole different show for a different day. I'm 100% convinced we are in a mindset battle. It's an info war / mindset battle, humility battle. That is it. It's like the tech's there. The physical tools, everything is there. Like, everything is there to do what we want. But it's just mindset keeping people back. Wild. I mean, but again, these are talks that generally people don't want to have. People want to come on, they want to click and, tell me who's suppressing Bitcoin price. Hey, who's what bank's blowing up today? These things go away. Those things are manifested, to your point, Nuclear, to Nuclear's point. They are manifested by people giving energy to that system. If tomorrow 2%, 1%, 5% of people wake up and say, the dollar is backed by nothing, I don't believe in it, I'm not using it, poof, the system goes away. I mean, this is so wild to me that, like, people sit here and they're arguing about macro and they're arguing about the Fed and what's Powell going to say. You're just feeding into the system. I love Jeff Snyder. I mean, the George Gammons of the world, but like, they're smart guys. Like, you are just feeding into this system. And that's where, like, the ephemeral world comes in, like the realism versus pragmatism. Yes. Is it realistic that, like, game theoretically speaking, tomorrow the dollar will probably exist still because a bunch of people are probably going to believe in the dollar still? Yeah, like, for sure. That's probably going to be the case, but it doesn't have to be. And at what point, what's the saturation point? At what point do people realize this is just in my mind? I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not taking these beatings. The beatings will continue until I stop believing in fake currencies. The beatings will continue until I move my life into Bitcoin. And then you defund the legacy system that you're in. And at some point, there's a saturation point. And there's enough people off the Titanic, and the Titanic splits in half and it falls into the water and it goes down 12,000 feet under. And we say bye-bye to the U.S. debt-based legacy monetary Titanic. And everyone's in the life rafts. And then we get to New York, we get to the harbor finally, another ship picks us up, we get to the harbor, and we have Bitcoin. We're building on Bitcoin, and we have this whole new world, this brand new world, this amazing thing that we could be given. So get out of here, Brian Armstrong. Get the heck out of here. Larry Fink. Clowns. Is the only thing you can't trust. Clone your eyes, clone your ears. So true. Yeah, you nailed it, Nuclear. Absolutely nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. That was obviously coloring books. Obviously, it was Bob Ross. Bob Ross. Bitcoin's business take and run and counting on you, Neo. Sincerely, Oracle. Man, so true. And that's what the Matrix, the movie, is too, right? There's so many themes in the Matrix, but it's Neo's getting out of his own way, right? What does he say when they're training him how to fight in the beginning? He's like, stop thinking and hit me. I mean, right there, boom. Like, I got chills just saying it. Like, stop thinking and hit me. Just play. Just use your intuition, your 6 higher faculties, intuition, your will, your perception, your reason, your imagination, your memory. Use it. Stop thinking. I had a coach when I was playing growing up. He was the last cut in the 1980 Miracle on Ice hockey team. And he coached me growing up. I was very blessed to have him as a coach, as a young man. It's one of the reasons why I had a great career. And he would always say, don't think in, it weakens the team. And I was probably like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old and didn't get it for like years. I was like, what does he mean? It's like, don't think, it weakens the team. Just play. Use your God-given abilities. Use your intuition. Use your talents. Stop overthinking, in essence, right? Like, stop getting in your own way. Just go. Just do. Trump is in the files, down under blues. Trump is in the files and they prove he's done nothing wrong. Yeah, we need like an Epstein Files expert on here. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Again, like, I go back to the kayfabe of Trump, like, and Elon, like, he's in the files. And he like storms out. And like, I can make a case that they were completely acting that out. And it was just to create fervor on the left to want the files to come out and push to get the files out and et cetera, et cetera. And I could see him being in the other files that aren't out. Who knows? I mean, but again, that's why giving credence to this system, at some point, we need 1% to stand up and lock arms and be like, yeah, we don't believe in the system anymore. Because then no amount of aircraft carriers matter. It literally doesn't matter. What are you going to do? It's too late. That's how these systems turn. That's how this is going to happen. Close to the source, running that program. Yeah, it's so true. Why are we here? The same reason I love candy. Boy, help us. We're all here to do what we're all here to do. Yeah, so true. Central banks are usury at nation state scale. Yeah, that's what it is. It's truly what it is, and they're gonna be gone. The central banks, the nation states, a lot of them aren't going to exist, in my opinion, going forward. The central banks aren't needed, aren't going to be here. As Christine Lagarde said, Bitcoin's escape hatch. That's why the American Bankers Association guy is fighting us. Hour and 38 minutes. Holy cow. I'm interested in the future. Believe me, I know. Yeah, I love where your head's at, Nuclear. I absolutely love it. Bitcoin is your resume. Bitcoin's the only resume you need. If you own Bitcoin and you're stacking, putting them in self-custody, putting on your stamp seed, that is your resume. That's all you need. Armstrong, Mr. Ben Perrin, good to see you, brother. Armstrong is a net negative for Bitcoin, 100%. Absolute clown world. Where is this guy? We'll put this dude back up on the screen. ETH, pumping ETH too, nonetheless. Not only, it's so crazy that he literally just got called out for trying to railroad the de minimis exemption, and then he's over here pumping ETH with Larry. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. The scripts write themselves. Absolutely write themselves. And we dovetailed this in from the Vitalik saying, Bitcoin's good, but it's like tethered to reality. It's tethered to physics. It's tethered to, yeah, that's kind of important, Vitalik. That's actually why we like it. That's, if you want merit and accountability and responsibility, but whatever. Yeah. And Ben just nails it and said this the other day on the Bitcast. This is what Bitcoin can be used as money right now. And there's no better person than to go to BTC sessions, go to the channel, go watch the 1,000 tutorials you've done over the last 10 years, 1,000 plus tutorials, thousands of tutorials on every wallet, every server, VPNs, you name it, hardware wallets, software wallets, talking about all of this. And all you got to do is talk to Ben for like 2 minutes and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm doing 1% of what I need to be doing as a Bitcoiner, in the sense of you could be the sovereign individual right now. You could be literally living the sovereign individual right now. But it's up to us. It's mindset. Do you believe you can or you can't? I can do that here. Can you? You can, but your mind is holding you back. Our minds hold us back. So go check out BTC Session channel, Ben's channel. Wow, cannot talk. Because you'll learn very quickly that it's all available for us. And society will catch up to this. Because we're here spending 2 hours doing this every couple times a week, doing a couple hours of podcast every week. The Bitcast, doing that for 2 hours a week. All of Ben's videos, all the other content creators, all the other podcasts, all the books that have been written, all of you guys here. I see many of you guys in the Bitcast chat, in Ben's other live streams, in Simply Bitcoin streams, in Natalie's streams, in Breedlove's, in Danny's What Bitcoins Did, in wherever. Like, I see you guys in the videos. I see you in the streams. I see you, it's people are waking up. It takes time. In Green Candles, in Luke Mikich's, in Bitcoin Well stuff. I mean, like, go down the list, right? Like, it's happening not on the time frame we want, but it is happening, and it will happen, because the younger generation ain't going back. So it's all there. It's all there if we want it. Armstrong, he does want it. You can do all things with Christ who strengthens you. Yep, that's it. All you need is the faith of a mustard seed. That's literally it. Fortunately, people are waking up to this. We went through a weird time the last, I don't know, call it maybe the last 100 years. Maybe the last 100 years. At least the last 50, 60 years. But eugenics, all kinds of weird stuff. In World War II, World War I, World War II, and some weird, just some weird times. But people are snapping back to reality. Still snapping back to reality. I'm still angry at what they did to us in 2020. We'll be paying for that for many years. Yeah, 100% down under. I mean, just absolutely insane what's happening. Armstrong is cringe. Yeah, you nailed that, Josh. Armstrong is cringe. So cringe. I mean, God love the man. He's a child of Christ, but what are we doing here? Come on, Brian. Like, you know better than that. And that's the thing. Like, you got to call people for what it is. You got to call people their actions. He's acting cringe. He's being cringe. He's a child of Christ. I still love you. Still love him as a human. But come on. You're better than that, Brian. You're better than that. Armstrong just this right here. He was seemingly, looks like there were sources. Where's my Jack Mallers thing? Jack Mallers also talked about this, about Ripple. It was not Brian Armstrong necessarily, but Ripple lobbying against the Bitcoin Reserve. Then we have Brian Armstrong over here also lobbying against the Bitcoin de minimis exemption in the Clarity Act. And then you've got him literally the same day or day after. Congrats, BlackRock. Or ETH, what we're doing with ETH. I mean, come on. I mean, at this point, we're now 10, 12 years into the ETH experiment. I'm like, what are we doing? I mean, this is just complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. But again, people don't want to see reality. They want to play fiat games. And then you're going to find out. Everything I do going forward will be based, it's just going to be like, it's just humility. It's the only reason any of us are here. We're not trying to get over our skis. We're not trying to catch up and get 1,000 Bitcoin. We're not trying to do, when you start doing dumb things and sacrificing your morals, your ethics, your values, whatever, you get dumb rewards. You think you're getting ahead in the short term. You think you are. And sometimes you might be, but in the long run, it never works. It never works. The truth always wins. And some people, the chicken too tasty. The temptation is just too much. Satan on the Temple Mount has got you up top there, right? And he's telling so-and-so how good it will be. And you can have the kingdom. And sad. Armstrong is Team Iceland. I'm guessing that's a not Back to the Future, Mighty Ducks quote. I love that. Oh yeah, there you go. Boom. Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth. We were talking about that the other day a little bit. District 5, 100%. Yep. Let's go. Great stuff, boys and girls. Great to see everybody. Nuclear, Josh, Mr. BTC Sessions, Down Under Blues, Christopher Barber. Great to see everyone. Stack the Dip, Blessed Exile. So many. Hat Boy, Trini, Poppy, Krang. I'm going to miss people and I'm going to be pissed. Who else is in here? Clean Your Machine. Saw you earlier. Stack the Dip. I think I said Stack the Dip. Dan, Mr. Dan Garrity, Sparkly Horns, Trini said that. Mr. Dinkles, what is good? My stock trades today. Warpaint. The Reformed Italian. It's great to see you as well. And Mr. Johnny Midas. You guys all rock. You guys absolutely rock. Love all you guys because you're on the mission. These are the times. These are times to try men's souls. Mr. Thomas Payne. Got it over here somewhere. I can't reach it though. Know what you believe and believe what you know. Mindset. It's a mindset at the end of the day. It's all this is. Do you understand the game is being played on you? And do you understand the Bitcoin game? At least simple enough to pull the couple minutes it takes to pull. Go watch some of Ben's videos or tutorials. BTC Mentor. Go check them out. Pull your sats off, your Bitcoin off exchanges. Put them in self-custody. Put them on your stamp seed. Want to support this show? 15% off. Go check out Stamp Seed. And the other Bitcoin only people that we have. We have to stick together. There's not many of us at the end of the day, so we've got to stick together. The only way out. Go much further faster together than we can separately. So appreciate you guys a ton. Have an awesome weekend. Like we said, go check out the Jeff Booth episode we had yesterday. A lot of great feedback there. Matt Hogan, Luke Roman, all in the last week. Scott Horton, Checkmate, everybody. Parker Lewis, Caitlin Long, Samson Mao, all we've had in the last month or two. And we've got Terrence Michael coming on Monday. We've got some interesting guests coming forward. We'll see you guys on Monday for the live stream. We might have Mr. Nathan. Maybe we'll have Ben. Who knows? Maybe we'll have Ben from BTC Sessions on with me on the live stream, or Nathan. I think Walker America will be with me next Friday. And we'll see you guys on our live stream, the BTC Mastermind on Tuesday with Rajat, Forrest, Jor, and Robin. And then Bitcast on Wednesday night. It's going to be a great week. Needed a good, strong end. Appreciate all you guys. More than you know. We'll see you guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Sunday for Terrence's podcast and on Monday, the live stream there. Have a great weekend.